Finally, we have with us Lesley Gabel, co-CEO of Prevention Resources Inc. She's here today representing Hunterdon County, New Jersey, Partnership for Health Drug-Free Task Force. Lesley, along with her wonderful colleagues, Aaron Cohen and Megan Moore, are the 2021 recipients of CADCA's Chairman's Award. Lesley is here today representing the substance misuse sector. Greg, Reverend Shane, Vinayak, and Lesley, will you please join us on the stage?
I think it's helpful for each of you to tell us what sector you're representing and tell us a little bit about how you got involved in this work.
My name is Lesley Gabel. I work for Prevention Resources. I'm the co-CEO. And my journey I didn't start in high school, but I wish I would have. Back in 2009, I had taken some time off with my family. I have a business background, and in 2009 I accepted a position in prevention education for a substance use prevention agency. And I thought, I'm just going to stay here a little while to get my skills sharp, to get back into, in my mind, a professional, real job. At that time of the year, we were also applying for the Drug-Free Communities grant, and I was very fortunate that they put me in the role as the project coordinator. And little did I know back in 2009 that this journey would bring me here today to be able to share the experiences that I've experienced. But I do want to say, because somebody else out here might be somebody who doesn't know anything about coalition work, because that was certainly me, as well as my colleague Peggy Dowd. When we started, we both sat in the National Coalition Academy, big wide-eyed going, I don't even know what some of these words mean. And I have to tell you that was a pivoting major change in my life personally, coalition work. But the National Coalition Academy, and by the way, no one's paying me to say any of this, but it really made a difference. We were able to learn so much from so many other coalitions, and it was really like a slingshot forward in our work. So if anyone's considering in their coalition work to maybe attend the Academy, I'm going to tell you that was life-changing. It was life-changing for me to be around like people, and coalition work has really changed my life. I've met some wonderful people, but I do want to say that prevention works. We know it works, and I know I'm here with many friends that believe that as well. So if you're brand new, please understand that you're around a lot of people who also are likely brand new, but it will take you on a fabulous journey, and use the skill sets that are amongst all your friends here today. It really will help.
Amazing. Now, Lesley, you are the substance use and misuse sector. So with that, what strategies or language that you use to help decide how you became involved and what others become involved in your community?
Well, as you're aware, as I mentioned, we were fortunate to have the Drug-Free Communities grant, so obviously we were, involved in that way. But since then, we've also worked and joined many other coalitions. So I'll talk about our sector. And our sector, as anybody else representing their sector, really thinks we're the most important sector, right? But our sector really does understand the local community conditions. We understand, as far as community assessment, we're likely to have all sorts of data access. We're likely to be able to teach a coalition and other coalition members about what's really happening on a local level. We'll also understand a lot about language. I'm not sure about you guys, but when I started back in 2009, there were a lot of words that I just did not understand. And I tell you what, Google wasn't as popular back then. So our sector is going to understand a lot about it. We're going to understand also about how we can package information and deliver information in languages that the community is going to understand. Our sector also values and understands stigma. And stigma, as we know, continues to really plague even our community in so many areas. Our sector can really help bring down those barriers and really be able to have the conversations and where the conversations should happen. Our sector also is deeply embedded in the value of prevention. There are many people who don't understand about what prevention really means. And I know that many of you might be similar like me. It takes a lot to make it in a short way. Prevention folks are passionate, and we can also bring a lot of enthusiasm and value to your coalition work, but also understand you're going to be around like-minded people. So prevention agencies, such as the one that I feel so valued to work with along with my colleagues, value the work. And with that, please make sure you always include a prevention agency focusing on substance misuse as a part of your coalition.
Lesley, could you also tell them why it's so important to be involved in your community?
Like I said, when I started back in 2009, I did not really understand the journey that I was going to be on. And the reason I'm still involved today is the work's not done. And while we've made tremendous strides and really have done some fabulous work in our community, and that work has been done by our community, we know we're still losing people. And one of the things that really struck me when we talk about understanding what's happening in your community, in our community, we're losing people to substance use disorder and overdose deaths that are in their 60s and 70s. It's heartbreaking to see this affecting when we talk about all the different ages that it truly affects. And that tells me we're not done. And we're not done till we are not losing any person. So staying engaged throughout the years, how do you do that? One of the most important things that I want to share with you is that how you keep people engaged as well as yourself is you need to ensure that you demonstrate the work that's being completed and making sure that the people are engaged. It's very important, right? Sometimes you're having meetings, and I don't know if you've ever been in a meeting, you feel like you're in a meeting and it's meeting and talking. One of the things we learned early on is to make sure that we were demonstrating that the work that people were contributing to and people that were working in the background, right? Not everybody can be at a meeting, but you have coalition members that are doing lots of things in different sectors to make sure that everybody knew that their time was valued and their time was meaningful and that they were making a difference, because that's how they stayed engaged. One thing I want to point out, Greg, and Reverend Shane, it really talks to your sector. Our coalition, we would have raised our hand, Greg, to your question, that we had most of our sectors engaged because we were required to with our grant. But our faith-based sector was a sector we struggled with. And really unusually, it was our prosecutor at the time that brought all the faith leaders together. He knew that he said, Lesley, we need to get everyone here. And where does the community gather? They gather at places of worship. And I'm also sure that there's many of you in coalitions that have a fabulous program or a town hall and only a few people show up, or the people that show up are not necessarily the people maybe you're trying to engage with. But places of worship are where everybody in your community gathers. So our prosecutor actually brought everyone together. And when we talk about the importance of engaging every sector, that turned to be a huge pivoting point. And I have friends today with me from the One Voice Coalition, which is faith-based. But think about a sustainable way to carry the messages. Two sectors and places of the community is places of worship or where people are already gathering. So sometimes in prevention work, it's hard to see your work, right? It's hard, but when you can see it happening in places of a church, places with your youth, it keeps you engaged and keeps you knowing that you're making a difference. So please make sure you continue to communicate to all the members that are participating how they are affecting change. They will stay engaged and they will continue working to the fight to really help make a difference and a change at a local level.
Can you each three talk a little bit about how you've continued to have your coalition engaged despite the fact that we've dealt with COVID-19?
We knew that we had to bring people in a virtual way to also engage and not just say, hey, I'm just going to talk, right? So we actually created lots of Kahoot trivia. I don't know if you guys have ever used that online. It's a great tool. But Kahoot was a great way to engage our youth, but not just our youth, our adults, because our adults were also isolated. And it was a way to bring engagement, also to engage our coalition members who were also feeling disengaged. So we actually were trying to find ways with fun ways of engagement, with also sending some of the messages we need to. So the engagement was also about getting people to also figure ways that it could be a two-way interaction. So we had a lot of fun, and by the way, we still continue to do these trivia events, and the trivia is silly trivia, but mixed with also prevention trivia. Another thing that we did, we're very fortunate to have a beautiful parks system. So we created events, again, following social distancing and all the things, and our coalition members came up with a great way about wellness and promoting ways to cope through healthy mechanisms. So we did walks, we did runs. We provided also kits to seniors through Meals on Wheels about messages and notes that we had our youth create and people create to know that they weren't isolated or alone. And we know that this type of engagement, we have to be different, and we have to find ways. The other thing is talking about the disposal. We had a lot of people that, again, were now not going to our disposal, but we also used our vaccination clinics, and we translated information into Spanish so we could really help teach. And we started using unique ways to distribute as well as teach how to dispose at home in safe storage. So in some ways it really was, a good lesson in understanding about having to shift the way that we operate. We've also found that online engagement is actually, not that we all want it, but some people that weren't able to attend coalition meetings are now engaged. And so, and I'm going to just finish this one last bit here. I had recently 2 coalition members that said, we want to go give a thank you to our members. And I was like, oh, we can get other people to do it. And then they're like, no, we're going to do it. These 2 coalition members traveled around, took a whole day to personally go up, again with masks, social distancing, to personally thank people for staying involved. I can't tell you how that simple act made huge impact, and the thank yous we received for these 2 individuals going to just make this gesture of saying thank you. So I wanted to share that.
What are your final words of wisdom or things that you would like to share with the group about how your sector and your community has been involved and will continue to be involved moving forward?
I want to go back to really ensuring that people that are maybe just starting out or people who've been here for a while, keep your education going, because I know just even being here this week, we've got a whole team here from New Jersey, go Jersey, is that we continue to learn from each other. And even just sitting on the stage listening to these guys, right, it's already triggering ideas, Greg, like you said. But reach out to the CADCA and coalition world here, because everybody has done something that's going to be something you could go, oh, you know what, we could do that. And I think staying engaged with people from across all different sectors, but from just our coalition family here, and continue to do and continue to increase your knowledge. There is no way that anyone, I tell you, I've come to CADCA since 2010, and every year I got a notebook full of great things to bring back. So I do want to say thank you to CADCA, because it's truly made a big difference to our coalition. And I want to go back to those 2 folks, and Wendy and Laura are here, that took the time to say thank you. And that genuine thankfulness of your sectors, of reaching out, are now even more engaged than ever, because they were recognized and appreciated. So don't forget the simple gesture of taking the time to do that. I find that to be really important.
So, on behalf of the panelists up here, please give them all a big round of applause for the work that they do. And no matter what sector you are from, take that, put that passion to work with your other partners, and let's make a good, successful community for all of us as we go home. Thank you.